The European Union is causing chaos in Europe as it stumbles from one self-created crisis to another with no democratic mandate for any of it. Not content with removing elected governments and overturning democratic ballots whose results they disapprove of, the European Union has now opened Europe's borders to the most backward and violent culture on this planet, and one that rejects any concept of basic human rights. What could possibly go wrong? These migrants stopped being refugees the moment they refused to register for asylum in the first safe country they arrived in, as per the law. But the European Union has refused to enforce the law, removing any incentive for countries to police the external border effectively when they know they can simply move people on, thereby encouraging millions more to come here, and millions more are now on their way. An unbiased observer watching from space might think that the people of Europe had taken leave of their senses, but we haven't. We've taken leave of our democracy, and now we are taking leave of our security. The European Union could have stopped this crisis from day one by following Australia's proven success in turning back the boats and processing genuine refugees offshore, but that was too much like common sense. Instead, they behaved with their usual arrogance and made the situation much worse by breaking the law, and I can't emphasize this too much, and effectively inviting the entire Muslim world to Europe. This is guaranteed to make Europe more dangerous for everyone, but especially for women, and for gay people, and for Jews. It's also putting money into the pockets of criminals and is effectively bankrolling the human trafficking industry. Angela Merkel wants Germany to pay for the Second World War by committing suicide. Her insane invitation to the Muslim Third World means that the number of rapes in Germany is now set to skyrocket. In fact, it's already started. And she can take personal credit for that. All you progressive Pollyannas with your dopey little refugees welcome signs can take a bow too. Because despite what the media would like us to believe, most of these migrants are unaccompanied men. And Europe's prisons are already full of third world Muslim men who don't know how to behave in a civilized society. The last thing we need is to import even more of them, because wherever third world Muslim men go, so does rape. It's a cultural thing. But that's exactly what the European Union is doing. Breaking the law to import a violent, misogynistic rape culture into Europe that directly threatens the safety of women and violates their human rights. And the German media are colluding with this. If you're a third world Muslim migrant in Germany who enjoys a bit of casual rape, and I know many of you do, you can carry on raping, safe in the knowledge that the media will keep it nice and quiet. They're on your side. So far, they and the police have kept very quiet about the epidemic of rape, child abuse and forced prostitution in the refugee centres, where things are so bad that women and girls have to sleep in their street clothes. Women's organisations even wrote a public letter to the government demanding separate women-only premises to keep predatory men at bay. The police don't want to talk about all the rapes because they don't want to legitimise critics of mass migration. How noble of them. They don't want to legitimise critics of breaking the law. Yet they still feel the need to warn local people not to let their children outside unaccompanied, not to let teenage girls wear revealing clothes, and they warn women not to walk to and from the train station alone because it's close to a refugee centre. They know what everyone in Europe now knows, that third world Muslim men are raised from the cradle to despise and fear women and to treat them as inferior. And when they come to a civilized place like Europe, they treat European women the same way because they're too pig ignorant to know any different. And we put up with it because we're so progressive and tolerant and compassionate and all, and we don't like to talk about it because it might be racist, and we try to understand and make allowances for them and their poxy excuse for a culture. And we skulk like cowards behind empty words like inclusion and difference, and applaud ourselves like seals for our bullshit humanitarianism, while Europe gets more and more dangerous for women, and for gay people, and for Jews. In fact, now for everyone. Because given that the free movement of people also means the free movement of jihad, you would have to be an idiot or a politician not to see what's coming. The Islamic State claims to have thousands of fighters already in Europe, and more are coming in every day because the European Union's criminal negligence means that Europe has no external borders. Serious bloodshed is on the way, for which the European Union is 100% responsible. But the politicians with their personal bodyguards needn't worry, as they are not the ones likely to be murdered. The only reason that any of this is happening is because the European Union is breaking the law. If they can break the law, why can't we all? Why can't we all just do what we like and take what we like? Why should anyone respect the law when it clearly means nothing? If we don't stop the boats, this illegal invasion will never end, and it's clear that the European Union has no desire to stop the boats. They want this flood of humanity to continue until Europe has been forcibly and irrevocably merged with a backward and violent culture that's hostile to everything we claim to stand for. They are importing barbarism. They are importing war, and they're showing beyond any shadow of doubt that they cannot be trusted with Europe's security. It's time for the people of Europe to claim asylum from the European Union.